What if I told you that a team could get absolutely demolished in a World Series, outscored by 28 runs, outhit by 31 hits, and outhomered by 6 long balls, yet still win the championship? What if I told you that the greatest dynasty in baseball history could dominate every statistical category, set records for offensive production, and still walk off the field as losers? October 13th, 1960, Game 7 of the World Series. The New York Yankees versus the Pittsburgh Pirates. And what happened that day defies everything we think we know about how baseball works. Because the Yankees didn't just lose a close series. They lost while outscoring the Pirates 55-27. They lost while hitting .338 as a team. They lost while setting a World Series record for runs scored by a losing team. This isn't just the story of Bill Mazeroski's walk-off home run. This is the story of how the most statistically dominant team in World Series history somehow found a way to lose. This is about how winning the games that matter is more important than dominating the games that don't. And this is about why the 1960 World Series remains the greatest upset in baseball history. Not because of one swing, but because of how impossibly backwards the entire series was. So how did this happen? How did the Pirates win a World Series they had no business winning? Let's break down the most shocking upset in baseball history. To understand how absurd this upset was, you need to understand just how dominant the Yankees were supposed to be. This wasn't some rebuilding Yankees team or a wild card squad that snuck into the playoffs. This was a juggernaut, a machine, a team that won 97 games in the regular season and featured some of the greatest players in baseball history. Mickey Mantle, Roger Maris, Yogi Berra, Whitey Ford, Elston Howard. This roster was stacked with Hall of Famers and future legends. They had just come off back-to-back World Series appearances and were expected to roll through the Pirates like they were a minor league team. The Pirates? They were a nice story. A scrappy team that won 95 games and captured the National League pennant for the first time since 1927. But nobody, and I mean nobody, gave them a real chance against the Yankees. This was supposed to be a coronation, not a competition. And for most of the series, that's exactly what it looked like. The Yankees didn't just beat the Pirates in their 3 wins. They absolutely annihilated them. Game 2, 16-3. Game 3, 10-0. Game 6, 12-0. These weren't baseball games. These were public executions. The Yankees scored 55 runs in 7 games. That's nearly 8 runs per game. They hit .338 as a team. .338 in a World Series. Bobby Richardson set a World Series record with 12 RBIs. Mickey Mantle hit 3 home runs and drove in 11. The Yankees' offense was doing things that had never been done before in October baseball. Meanwhile, the Pirates managed just 27 runs in 7 games. They hit .256 as a team. They were getting dominated in every measurable way. By every statistical measure, this series should have been a Yankee sweep. Maybe the Pirates steal 1 game at home to avoid the embarrassment, but that's it. So how did the Pirates win? That's the question that has haunted baseball analysts for over 60 years. Because what happened in 1960 shouldn't be possible according to everything we know about baseball statistics and probability. Here's the key to understanding this upset. The Pirates didn't win the series by being better than the Yankees. They won by being better when it mattered. While the Yankees were busy setting offensive records and blowout victories, the Pirates were grinding out close wins in the games they needed. Look at the game-by-game breakdown. Game 1, Pirates win 6-4. A close game decided by timely hitting and solid pitching. Game 2, Yankees destroy them 16-3. But here's the thing. That game only counts as 1 loss, no matter how badly you lose it. Game 3, another Yankees blowout, 10-0. Again, just 1 loss. Game 4, Pirates win 3-2. Another close game where execution mattered more than raw talent. Game 5, Pirates win 5-2, taking a 3-2 series lead despite being statistically dominated. Game 6, Yankees obliterate them 12-0, forcing Game 7. Do you see the pattern? The Yankees were winning their games by an average margin of over 12 runs. The Pirates were winning their games by an average of less than 3 runs. But in baseball, it doesn't matter if you win by 1 run or 10 runs. A win is a win, and the Pirates understood something the Yankees didn't. You don't need to dominate to win a championship. You just need to win 4 games before the other team does. This brings us to Game 7, October 13th, 1960, Forbes Field in Pittsburgh. And what unfolded that afternoon was the most chaotic, back and forth, absolutely insane Game 7 in World Series history. The Yankees jumped out to an early lead, scoring 2 runs in the first inning on a Mickey Mantle single. Here we go again, everyone thought. The Yankees are going to blow them out one more time and win this thing going away. But the Pirates fought back. They tied it in the bottom of the first. The Yankees went ahead again in the second. The Pirates tied it again in the fifth. This wasn't the dominant Yankees team that had been crushing Pittsburgh all series. This was a dogfight, a street brawl, the kind of game where talent takes a backseat to execution and guts. By the eighth inning, the Yankees had taken a 7-4 lead. They were 6 outs away from another championship. 6 outs away from proving that statistical dominance does matter. 6 outs away from making sense of this entire backward series. And then the bottom of the eighth happened. Gino Cimoli singled. Bill Verdon hit what should have been a double play ball, but it took a bad hop and hit Yankees shortstop Tony Kubek in the throat. Instead of 2 outs and nobody on, the Pirates had 2 runners on base with nobody out. The game was about to change on a fluke play that had nothing to do with skill or strategy. Dick Grote singled to score 1 run. Bob Skinner sacrificed the runners over. Roberto Clemente hit a chopper that scored another run. Hal Smith, the Pirates' backup catcher, came to the plate with 2 runners on and the Pirates trailing 7-6. Hal Smith was hitting .214 in the series. He wasn't a star. He wasn't even a regular starter. But in that moment, with everything on the line, he did what the Yankees Hall of Famers couldn't do in their blowout wins. He came through when it mattered most. Smith crushed a 3-run home run over the left field wall. Forbes Field exploded. The Pirates led 9-7. The impossible was about to happen. The team that had been statistically dominated all series was 3 outs away from winning the World Series. But this was the Yankees. They didn't become a dynasty by giving up. In the top of the ninth, they mounted one final rally. Bobby Richardson and Dale Long singled. Roger Maris fouled out, but Mickey Mantle singled to score a run. Yogi Berra hit a ground ball that was misplayed, allowing another run to score. The game was tied 9-9. Think about what just happened. The Pirates had just hit what should have been a series-winning home run, only to watch the Yankees tie it up in the very next half inning. The emotional whiplash was devastating. Most teams would have been crushed by that momentum shift. Most teams would have folded in extra innings against a Yankees team that had been dominating them all series. But the Pirates weren't most teams. And what happened next became the most famous moment in Pittsburgh sports history. Bottom of the ninth inning. Score tied 9-9. Bill Mazeroski, the Pirates' Gold Glove second baseman, led off the inning against Yankees reliever Ralph Terry. Mazeroski was a defensive specialist. Not known for his power, he had hit 11 home runs all season. He wasn't the guy you'd expect to be the hero in this moment. Terry's first pitch was a ball. The second pitch was a high fastball. And Mazeroski did something that had never been done before and has never been done since. He hit a walk-off home run to win Game 7 of the World Series. The ball sailed over the left field wall at Forbes Field. Mazeroski rounded the bases waving his helmet. Fans poured onto the field. The Pirates had done the impossible. They had won a World Series despite being outscored 55-27, despite being outhit 91-60, despite every statistical measure saying they had no business being champions. So how did this happen? How did the Pirates pull off the most impossible upset in baseball history? The answer reveals everything about why baseball is different from every other sport. First, the Pirates understood that momentum doesn't carry over between games. The Yankees would dominate one game, building massive statistical advantages and crushing the Pirates' spirits. But the next day, the score started at 0-0 again. The Pirates didn't let blowout losses affect their confidence in close games. They treated each game as its own separate entity, which is exactly how baseball should be played. Second, the Pirates had better pitching when it mattered. Yes, they got shelled in games 2, 3, and 6. But in the games they won, their pitching staff found ways to keep the Yankees' offense in check just enough to give their own offense a chance. Vern Law won 2 games. Bob Friend pitched well in Game 6 before getting pulled. Harvey Haddix was brilliant in relief. When the Pirates needed outs, their pitchers delivered. Third, the Pirates got timely hitting while the Yankees got empty statistics. Bobby Richardson's 12 RBIs are impressive until you realize most of them came in blowout games that were already decided. The Pirates, meanwhile, got hits when they needed them most. Hal Smith's 3-run homer in Game 7. Rocky Nelson's key hits throughout the series. Roberto Clemente coming through in clutch moments. The Pirates maximized their offensive production by getting hits in high-leverage situations. Fourth, And this is the most important factor. The Pirates had home field advantage in Game 7. Forbes Field was a quirky ballpark with a short left field porch that favored right-handed pull hitters like Mazeroski. The Yankees were built for Yankee Stadium's dimensions. Playing Game 7 in Pittsburgh gave the Pirates a subtle but significant advantage that doesn't show up in the box score. But here's the real reason the Pirates won. They believed they could win even when all the evidence said they couldn't. After getting destroyed 16-3 in Game 2, they came back and won Game 4. After getting shut out 10-0 in Game 3, they didn't panic. After getting demolished 12-0 in Game 6, they showed up for Game 7 ready to fight. This is what separates championship teams from talented teams. The Yankees had more talent, they had better statistics, they had more Hall of Famers, but the Pirates had something the Yankees didn't: the ability to win close games when everything was on the line. The 1960 World Series remains the greatest statistical anomaly in baseball history. No team has ever been so thoroughly dominated in a series and still won the championship. The Yankees' 55 runs scored is still a record for a losing team. Their offensive production was historically great, and it didn't matter. This series proved something that analytics-obsessed modern baseball sometimes forgets. Statistics don't win championships. Execution in key moments wins championships. The ability to perform under pressure wins championships. And sometimes, a little bit of luck, like a bad hop that hits Tony Kubek in the throat, can change the entire trajectory of a series. The Yankees went on to dominate the 1960s, winning 5 more World Series titles, but they never forgot 1960. Casey Stengel was fired despite having one of the greatest managerial careers in baseball history. The Yankees front office was embarrassed by the loss and made wholesale changes to ensure it never happened again. The Pirates, meanwhile, became legends in Pittsburgh. Bill Mazeroski's home run is still the most famous moment in franchise history. The 1960 team is still celebrated as the greatest underdog champions in baseball, and their victory remains proof that in baseball, anything is possible. So how did the 1960 Pirates pull off baseball's most impossible upset? They did it by understanding that World Series aren't won by dominating statistics. They're won by winning 4 games before the other team does. They did it by staying confident even when they were getting blown out. They did it by executing in key moments when the Yankees couldn't. And they did it with one swing of the bat from a Gold Glove second baseman who hit 11 home runs all season, but became immortal with one swing in the bottom of the 9th inning of Game 7. The 1960 World Series is a reminder that baseball is beautifully unpredictable, that talent doesn't always win, that statistics don't tell the whole story, and that sometimes the team that has no business winning finds a way to win anyway. The next time someone tells you that the best team always wins, remind them of 1960. Remind them of the Pirates beating the Yankees despite being outscored by 28 runs. Remind them of Bill Mazeroski's walk-off home run. Remind them that in baseball, the impossible happens more often than we think. Because on October 13th, 1960, the Pittsburgh Pirates proved that championships aren't won on paper. They're won on the field. And sometimes, the underdog gets to be the champion.